Hi, I'm Ann Groff, Manager of the Analytics Department here at NuSil Technology. Today we're going to talk about viscosity and help you better anticipate how NuSil material will perform in your manufacturing process. Simply put, viscosity is a material's resistance to flow. Now this may seem counterintuitive because it's not how easily a material flows. So if a material doesn't flow easily, actually it has a high viscosity. To better understand that, let's think of some everyday examples. Water flows very easily, or you could say it has a low resistance to flow, and hence a low viscosity. In centipoise, which is the standard unit of measure for viscosity, water is 1. Honey, which flows slightly less easily, has a slightly higher resistance to flow, and thus has a higher viscosity. In fact, honey has a viscosity of about 10,000 centipoise. Yogurt doesn't flow easily and has a high resistance to flow. Yogurt has a viscosity of about 100,000 centipoise. We test viscosity by introducing a rotational force and observing the material's resistance to that force. Today, we will be using two different instruments for our test. First, we'll do some basic testing with this Brookfield viscometer. Then we'll move to a more sophisticated piece of instrumentation, a controlled stress rheometer, or CSR, to better mimic your manufacturing process. At NuSil, we test using ASTM standard D2196 for viscosity on the Brookfield. Sample preparation is critical to getting accurate results. The first thing to check is that the table that you're using is level. Second is that the Brookfield is level on the table. Third, you want to make sure that the sample has been equilibrated at the temperature you wish to test. Our NuSil silicone polymer that we're testing today has been in a water bath at 25 degrees C for 30 minutes. Lastly, make sure there's no air bubbles in your sample. Centrifuge or de-air your sample before you test. For more information on sample preparation, visit nusil.com. Before we start testing, we need to choose the right spindle to introduce the rotational force. There are several types of spindles to use, depending on the viscosity of the material. Today, we're using spindle 3, which we've predetermined to be the most appropriate for this material. Be sure to use the proper safety precautions by wearing safety glasses and gloves when testing. When you introduce the spindle into the material, be sure to put the disc in at an angle slowly until the disc is fully submerged. Then lower the head down and screw in the spindle. Then center the spindle in the jar and again lower the head down until the surface of the material lines up with the notch on the spindle. The Brookfield introduces the rotational force through high-speed rotation, which is measured in units of shear rate. We've predetermined that the appropriate shear rate for this material is 5. So we turn the Brookfield to 5 and allow the spindle to rotate until the reading has stabilized. We're getting a raw measurement of 16.5. According to the ASTM, a multiplication factor is needed to convert the raw reading to centipoise. When we use spindle 3 at speed 5, the multiplication factor is 200. We take our raw reading of 16.5 and multiply by 200 to get 3,300. Our NuSil silicone polymer has a viscosity of 3,300 centipoise. Now we're going to use a controlled stress rheometer to test the viscosity of the same polymer. The CSR has better precision and accuracy than the Brookfield, and it can also test at temperatures from -150 degrees C to 600 degrees C to better mimic your actual manufacturing conditions. Centrifuge or de-air your sample before you test. Then place a small amount on the center plate and lower the spindle to meet the material. Once the spindle has reached the specified gap setting, we trim the material to the exact diameter of the spindle. We are running again at a shear rate of 5, and again we got a centipoise of 3,300. Thank you for joining us today to learn about NuSil and viscosity. Again, we have the sophisticated instrumentation and the technical expertise to help you choose the right NuSil silicone for your manufacturing process.